GM.
GM.
GM. What?
For you today.
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Feel like $1,000,000.
These wolves kept me up way too late last night.
I literally fell asleep on our Discord chat. I had told you before I was fading. I thought I had a second wing. I know I started. I couldn't even tell you what the first things I said were. We have been doing an insane media push. We have been up late nights doing technical things, reviews, organizing addresses, and I last night was it. I fell right asleep. I woke up to my laptop open, the Discord open, my voice connected, but the stage closed. Some sort of weird Discord. But I assume it was smashing, my friend. I assume it was smashing.
Well, you did a great job while you're up there. Just if rest assured, you were fine.
Did you guys draw things on my face while I was sleeping? Like you're like, oh look, FMC's asleep. Let's mess with him.
Oh yeah, we talked about it.
Oh,
the distance was a little far for me to get to, but one day that will happen. Honestly, I'm glad that you did it because this is something that I've been victim of so much in my life. I'm always the first person that falls asleep. If I'm tired, I go to sleep. Fortunately, yesterday I managed to sneak a little bit of a nap in so that I had that extra little push to make it. But I am living on coffee this morning. Holy. 2 a.m. I know that doesn't sound late for a lot of you DJs, but for me, that's might as well be an all-nighter.
Well, it's funny because I have been trending towards a later schedule, but I think there's the last 3 days it's been a no sleep schedule. So that was going to catch up to me at some point, and it just happened to be at 12:02. I don't know if that's when I conked. I just remember the last thing I saw on the clock was 12:02, and then I woke up in a chair.
How's your back feeling?
We will leave the back out of it for now.
I'll leave the back out of it. Yeah, even on the best of days, I find mine is oh god, getting old, man, getting old. Well, yesterday was a fun day though. Honestly, we spent a lot of time. We held a Wolves Spaces on Twitter. We held a bit of a Discord launch party at midnight last night. We had a lot of Genesis Wolves come up and talk about the project, how they got into it, but had a lot of the newer ones into it too. So it was great to hear from them and have people reach out on the Twitter DMs showing interest in all of that stuff. So it's been remarkable, and the community is just full of amazing people. So always love that and engaging with people like that.
Yeah,
so.
We are so humbled and honored by our community, the reception, and we are looking forward to the public sale later today.
Yeah, we got the Hunter roll coming up in just over 2.5 hours. Lots of wallets waiting in the wind to get their mint in, and then of course after that is the public sale. So we also we had some interesting stuff come out of the greater NFT space yesterday too that we're going to get into. We're going to keep this a little bit shorter today. Lots of stuff on the table. I also actually have to get my dog to a vet appointment. He's due for some shots and stuff like that. So I got to make sure I take care of the pupper.
Does he know? Did you tell him, or is he just ignorant, right? You can't tell them. You just got to grab the ball, be like, come on, boy, we're going to the car.
He's smart. And you know what? He doesn't like the car. Surprisingly, I'm not really sure when he fell out of love with the car. So that's always the tricky part. But normally when he gets to see people, he just gets excited.
I know when he fell out of love with the car, because I hear your driving escapades every morning. Canadian drivers, I don't even know what you're dealing with up there. It's like the Grand Prix every day when I hear what's going on. And semi-trucks, no less.
You're not wrong. It's the wild north, I guess we should call it. It's
Don't blame him.
Madhouse. GM, Degens, Dekenza, Cambo, Ashtray, Nobis, Bomber, Badatu, Zopal. How is everyone doing this morning? I heard Lemons is buying Disney. Cambo, you know what? Nothing would surprise me these days, but I don't know that that's going to happen. So
that would be quite the raise that they would need to make that acquisition.
I heard Yuga Labs is buying Microsoft. Actually, that was the word on the street.
Oi. I have a feeling Microsoft's going to buy somebody, but they are not going to be acquired, of course. But I do have.
No, I know.
I do have the hankering feeling that somebody very kingly is going to be acquired by Microsoft. I don't know. I get a feeling something fits so perfectly with Microsoft, and we know they're going to make a move. It's a matter of time. I don't know if it's going to be next week, next fall, or whatever, but looking forward to that one.
Yeah, Microsoft definitely not short on cash. Definitely not Web3 averse. Acquisitions fit their MO.
Correct.
I don't see that being incredibly far-fetched, if I'm being honest with you.
No.
All right, we got some people in here. We've been rolling for a couple minutes on the pre-show. You want to get this bad boy started? GM Degens, and welcome to episode 105 of the AlphaMint Morning Show, hosted live on YouTube and Twitch TV. I am your host, R2 Degen, and I'm joined with me, as always, by Free Market Capitalist.
Hey now.
We got a nice looking crypto chart sitting right now. There's some bullish stuff happening there, and feeling pretty good about that. Some volume returning into select things. We mentioned that on the show yesterday, and you've seen it pop up in pockets there. Maybe some of the after effects of the Azuki profits being taken and the airdrop happening, but it's been really excited. CoolCats kind of went for a wild ride yesterday too. A good reminder in this space to always DYOR before you ape into stuff too much. So that was really interesting. And then there was a lot of stuff going on Twitter surrounding it as well. So we're going to break down that a little bit too. A bit of a slow news day, but let's just jump into the crypto markets right now. We'll talk a little bit about the S&P. Crypto right now, Bitcoin is sitting at $46,500, up very slightly. And I guess call me a liar now, because ETH was over 3,500 while we were talking about it in the pre-show and whatnot. It has just taken a small step back to 34.8446 if we want to get really precise with it. Still up a solid 6% on the week, whereas Bitcoin is down 0.5%. Nothing worrying there. But ETH getting a lot of news. There is a real different feeling this time that ETH 2.0, that can, the consensus layer is well on its way and feeling imminent. But of course, our beloved Ethereum is the first step into NFTs as well, and that always can help things, especially when you're talking about these big projects that have very, very high dollar values starting to get snatched up there. What are you seeing in the charts? What do you see in the S&P 500? Maybe I'll pull up the NASDAQ too, because that has its proper place in the risk assets.
Yeah, well, it's right now we've had quite the move up from the bottom. Whether we're talking about traditional markets or crypto, we got up to the next level of resistance, and it's containing us pretty well. 3,500. We have tried to poke above a few times. I've seen it try to poke above 3 times, and usually if you knock on the door 3 times and you still can't get in, so we may go and test support over the weekend, and I actually think that would be super healthy over the rest of the week, I should say. 3,200 was the last level we had a hard time getting above, that 3,250 level. Well, markets like to go test that support just to make sure, like, all right, are you really support? Yes, we should go test that. And today you are seeing the NASDAQ down 0.5%, where S&Ps are actually up a little bit. And we talked about this rotation the other day, where people were now rotating slightly out of the old man, quote unquote, old man stocks like oil and banks, and back into things like tech. And if crypto was going to be correlated to anything, it would be to the NASDAQ or to the tech market. And you're seeing it right now. Both ran up into resistance, being contained, consolidating a little bit. Everything here is gearing up for a very, very bullish moment. Now, I don't know if we need a small dip before then, but quite frankly, we have been consolidating since last year, since last April, okay, when we peaked on ETH. And yeah, we came back and kind of put in almost a double top, almost getting up to that high again. But we've essentially been contained. This has really been consolidation for almost a year sideways. That's a lot of momentum and energy that's building up, getting ready to be let go. And I do believe it's going to resolve higher. And we have bullish seasonality. We have ETH2 and the merger on deck. I think any weakness, if we are lucky enough to get weakness now off of this resistance that we're battling up against, that may be one of your best opportunities to get long here into what I think is going to be a pretty nice leg up when it happens.
Well, and you mentioned yesterday on the show that there was some whispers about a certain gigantic tech company that starts with an A and ends with a pull, maybe acquiring some Bitcoin. And those are one of those 4 instances that once they publicly disclose something like that and it goes on the balance sheet, I mean, could really honestly just be completely off to the races. But you're absolutely right. When we zoom out to that 1-year chart, it looks crazy because the highs and lows are so great, and the variance in NFTs is so high and the volatility is very high. But it has been this consolidation basically between, if you want to just take the highs of 65,000 and the lows of about 30,000 in Bitcoin's case, and then of course of ETH's case, I can refresh it here, but I'm going to say probably around 2,400 and 5,000, somewhere in that range, pulling it up. And it's weird to think about consolidation going on over these, not only that time frame, like a year, but also in that range.
Yeah. I mean, ETH is greatly undervalued relative to the value of its network. There are technical reasons for that, which I think are being solved with the merge and ETH too. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Who knows what's to come next in crypto? It's often surprising to say the least, but things are shaping up to be a very fun spring and hopefully summer as well. I'm gonna get
a public service announcement. Ethereum is the network. Ether is the native currency traded on that network. Thank you.
That's an important distinction that we actually forget often. A lot of times you just say Ethereum, the coin.
I do it too. That's why I like to remind myself. I make that mistake all the time, but it is Ether.
Ether is the gas.
They're actually trading Ether. Ethereum is the name of the network.
Nobody said that Vitalik was a good marketer.
Oh my God. Did you see the video from Miami? I guess I'll go dig it up while you bring up the next story. I don't even know if we should play it on the. If we do play it on the air, I hope we get DCMA'd. I hope we get. Well,
I said Vitalik and you went crazy, so I'm in.
I don't even know if I want to promote the man who holds all my net worth. It's a lot of dancing. It's a lot of dancing, but.
At the exact same time. Oh no, is it more dancing?
if you're gonna dance, like, you should want to do it. He does not look like he wants to be like. It looks like somebody is off camera with a rifle aimed at him, saying "dance, dance."
Yeah, do it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Well, I'll find it maybe
for you. You read this article.
Some potentially good news coming out of Canada. We've talked about it in the past. Canada not being super crypto friendly all of the sudden and cracking down on it. A lot of it had to do with the Freedom Trucker rally that happened back in February, with them blocking addresses and trying to put the gears on these crypto exchanges, changing a lot of the regulations. Even now, it's like. When you're on Coinbase, there's extra boxes that you have to check when you're sending money off of it and all of that stuff. The leader of the potential leader of the Canadian Conservative Party. I don't know if he's actually going to get there the next election cycle or not, wants to embrace Bitcoin and crypto in the country. Pierre Poilievre. No, that sounds Spanish. My apologies. As much as I am Canadian, I don't know French that well. But maybe you can pronounce that. You know French better than I do. But he went on to say, what's that?
Show me the name. I can't see it.
Oh, I'll make it up bigger there for you. Poilievre.
Yeah. Poilievre.
Poilievre. Oh yeah. Now that you're saying that, I'm like, fuck. I've heard this a bunch on the news. He wants Canada to be the blockchain capital of the world, and that is a breath of fresh air from our politicians. That being said, it's not like this guy is like overwhelmingly popular, so he's gonna have some work to do to kind of get into that upper echelon of being the Prime Minister of Canada. But I believe that after what happened and what transpired in February, there will be a pretty big shift into somebody whose platform is more about financial freedom rather than constriction. So that was at least something that made me smile this morning as I was pulling up the news articles and reading through it.
C'est le grand?
No hablo.
Yeah, no, this is big. It is, obviously, like you said, this is a tough, it's a tough road for this politician in particular. But I do think you are going to see politicians start to use this as an, up and coming politicians start to use this as an issue to garner grassroots support. We saw it in the United States with other issues that senators and politicians have leveraged to get themselves popular. And I do think crypto has that type of millennial and Gen Z appeal that politicians are going to start leveraging to get that young voter base out. So cool stuff.
Yeah. The one kind of statement that he made that I just actually really I really appreciated was just that I'm not going to force anybody to use a particular type of cryptocurrency. And as Prime Minister, I'm simply going to give you the freedom to choose. If you believe that Bitcoin is the best tool for you to transact, as Ali has decided, a store owner, then you can do that. He later added, as long as you follow the same laws and pay the same taxes. And that to me just feels incredibly pertinent. And in Canada, we're used to the taxes that we have, public health care, all of that stuff. It's publicly funded. So we have that tax bracket, but adding more taxes onto it because you're trying to participate in a specific economy is it can be a tough pill to swallow. So again, very very excited to see this will be a longer term news story because the federal election here is still several years away. We actually just went through one last year. So another just kind of reminder for everybody.
We already teased, and I sent it to you in the DMs, and you should bring it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Before we forget too much. I think against my best instincts, you should probably just put the video and play it. Put it in full screen, turn that volume up. It's an original song, don't worry.
Yeah, again, the sound doesn't come through when I have the screen share there, but
there it is.
Oh yeah, he's talking too.
Oh no, he's singing R2
and
rapping at times.
Oh no.
Singing and rapping. Yeah. There it is. So, that's yeah.
With a little bit of practice, I think he's got this.
That is.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel less awkward for him than some of the people in the background.
I can't tell if he lacks more vitamin D or rhythm, but both need to be injected immediately.
You know what though? I mean, that camo there goes my hero. Oh no. You know what? Honestly, this guy lives and breathes blockchain technology through and through. Kind of makes me bullish to know that he hasn't been moonlighting as a dancer. Like this guy is just working.
Neither has anybody in the background.
That may
No
What is
idea.
the tweet? He created more wealth than anybody in the history of mankind and still puts him out there selling his new mixtape. I'd buy it. I'd buy it, especially if it's an NFT. When Vitalik mixtape.
Yeah, there it is. The creator of Ethereum. So yeah, now we can go to that news story. Just thought everybody would like to see that. It was.
Well, how can I top that?
There's no topping it.
Okay, it's just like we're coasting now. It's all we've peaked.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, just another reminder: if you don't already need one, be careful about the links that you click. This one coming from MailChimp Insider targets Trezor crypto wallets in phishing scam. An insider exploit of MailChimp's newsletter database has resulted in Trezor users being targeted in a malicious phishing scam. It is coming from a domain that says no reply. Oh, shoot. I just clicked the tweet. No reply at Trezor. Now I'm getting, God damn it. No reply at trezor.us.
Did you just get your wallet drained?
Yeah, I was just like, what am I clicking? And I'm like, no, they wouldn't include the actual link in their tweet. I hope not.
Sure?
But again, like, something coming from MailChimp, coming from the inside of it, them having access to the mail database, and then of course kind of slapping an official looking Trezor email. And that is a pretty legit looking domain. I'm not going to lie. Again, always make sure that you are going to directly to the website that you're dealing with and checking that stuff through. And really, nobody is ever going to be asking for your seed phrase. So even just on top of that, the second you see anything to do with your seed phrase, it should be the biggest red flag that you could possibly ask for.
And I mean, I don't know. I'll keep saying this until maybe somebody at Twitter hears us. But whatever you have done with the selling of blue checks, my entire notifications is skanked.
Oh, I've been getting that too. Yeah,
every fucking day with fake Bored Apes who bought the blue check from, and you can tell that all these are not American blue checks that are being sold here. And I don't know where the blue check black market is prominent right now, probably on the dark web, but it's become a nuisance. The only thing I'll say is I get very excited when they tag me with people like Zeneca and Pranksy versus just random I'm like, ooh. Why was
yeah. It's like you got some like side exposure.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you scammers keep tagging me only with those users, I'll stop complaining. But it's gotten to a point of nuisance. So.
Yeah, I forgot. I don't forget it. Like I get so many notifications like that, and it's just like repetitively blocking people. But I don't get why blue check accounts, like there should be some kind of audit process or something that goes through it. It's difficult enough to actually get a check mark, not that I've been trying, but actually get a check mark on a legitimate account. But buying one is just like the easiest thing to do, and Twitter just has no checks and balances to make sure that this doesn't happen.
The homie Drifter Shoots, who's been in the news, who is arguably the most well-known and prolific NFT photographer ever. He had such a hard time getting. He had to put, as he put it, his government name up there on his account for days, and he hated it. Oh my God! You just tell how uncomfortable was it. He hated it. And the day after he took it down, they verified him. So I don't know if Twitter is, just taking a piss, or if it does really just take a lot to get something through to the person who can affect change there. But yeah, shout out to Drifter Shoots. He got his blue check, but it is difficult. They want, one of the best things is to corroborate news reports, apparently. But, some people have a lot of, articles written about them, still can't get that blue check. Yet the moment they let people change their accounts, like how it's so easy. If you change the account over, no blue check. Like your blue check goes away. If you change the name, if you change your
username. I guess that's where it gets hard, because you could just give somebody the login information, right? And then like there's no transfer kind of there.
We did not see the type of proliferation of this, format of scam until they allowed just the easy transfer. I mean, because you could see it. Go into your settings on Twitter. You can just send your account to like it.
100% no name changes should be allowed. That's
no
damn sure.
All right.
So, maybe Papa Elon can help us out there. Is it true? Did he get named to the board of on Twitter now? Is he's sitting up there with Jack?
Oh man. Well, and no, let me just say one more thing, because this was a point that somebody made and I kind of like it too, is that NFTs are the new blue check. You know, a hexagon with an NFT, that's a lot more verification to me than a blue check. Blue check means nothing to me now. And you better click on that hexagon, because anybody can right click, save anything, mint it to OpenSea for free and put it in their hexagon. So you know, nothing is 100%, but you better double check on if, you know, obviously not for every person you scroll by, but if someone wants to do business with you, DM you, you know, these type of things, you better double check that hexagon, right? Just
double check it. Don't assume that it's just there. Like I even kind of went in depth when it first happened that it's very easy to actually just fit the hexagon black outline around your thing and kind of make it look legitimate. And you know, I'm not advocating for that, but you know, when you click on it, there is a very clear like check out this NFT.
Yeah, it takes
you go there
and stuff. Yep.
And then just check that it's the actual OpenSea project that you're looking to deal with. Elon, quick to take to Twitter. Do you want an edit button? Yes and no, which he obviously clearly misspelled. What's your take on an edit feature on Twitter? I don't like it.
Never.
I don't.
They should. The same reason you shouldn't be able to sell it. Twitter is
you could say something, people can comment on it, retweet it, like it, then you edit it.
Exactly.
And to say something completely different, and you know, you've rugged people basically.
Twitter is the social media of record. Okay. Now there was even a time when they debated whether they should allow you to delete tweets. They very early on in Twitter's life, people they saw the importance it was becoming in journalism, and just as R2 said, there's so much manipulation that could go on. We're making a tweet say one thing, you get a bunch of important, famous people to comment, say something on it, and then you change it. That could be a disaster. So an edit button, no, I think that would be a terrible idea for Twitter. They did the best of both worlds, where if you get the Twitter blue, there's a little of delay until your tweet is posted. So it gives you time to go and edit it if you made a mistake. I was a big typo tweet guy, and that feature helps me a lot. And I still get caught with it. I still find myself wanting to be hasty, and I force the tweet through and anyway. But I would never suggest an edit button. And J. Roy, there's still no Android support for the hexagon. They're trying to tell you something. Wink, wink.
You got to be an iPhone maxi like me, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's you gotta just switch over.
If edit button, like it needs to be like 30 seconds tops. Like you need to get in there and then like whatever. I still
no edit button. You can't.
I agree.
It goes out into the wild and people can comment on it. Deleting it's one thing, but again, it's just like you pointed out, you're pulling people down with you. If you're allowed to edit a tweet, anybody who commented on it they are being used in a lie now. You can't do that as Twitter. I just think there's too much downside.
You see some pretty funny things happen on Facebook, and when I say funny, like not like they have since added the like edit history thing, so you could see what the edit. But even just like someone will say something, and then it'll be like a nice statement or something, and you'll get all these people be like, "Yeah, I agree," and then they change it to like some incredibly racist statement. It just looks like they're like, it's kind of terrible, right? Because your family gets involved. Or I've seen people do it even when they delete the comment, and it kind of pushes the comment up, and it makes it look like they're responding to something else. So even on the delete function, I can kind of get behind you there.
Yeah. But this morning, as I woke up and saw the news, I was elated I have always been a Twitter maxi, especially when it comes to social media. I rarely use any other social media. I very much believe in the potential of what Twitter can be, yet they have been mired by a culture that was set in the early years of that company that I went over yesterday, and it has held them back. Even as Jack, who I like for the most part, came in and tried to affect change, and I think he did some good things. I just think that he is too focused on finance and Square, and I think that was really what guided his decision to leave Twitter. But there's so much potential there, and I have also always been a fan of Elon Musk. I'm actually not even that big a fan of Tesla or its cars, but I love Elon Musk, what he has built, what he has done. I think there would be no better person to be on the board of Twitter. He was awarded a board seat this morning. The news was broken by The Verge, I believe. And yeah, that is huge to me. I think that's very, very. Look, we saw Twitter already react very bullishly to Elon taking that stake. And I think it's because people see the same thing. There's a ton of potential here for Twitter. They just need somebody who can affect that change. And you can see Twitter got up to $53. It's up another 5% today. Investors like the news. I'm not surprised. Super bullish on Twitter. It is very undervalued relative to what it could be.
Oh, yeah. And like you said yesterday, tons of potential for them to, participate in a lot more areas of social. Decentralized finance and blockchain are real. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon. I don't need to go too in depth in this, but this is somebody who not too long ago said, Bitcoin wasn't really his cup of tea, I believe he put it. And, now he's not only changing his tone, but as the head of one of the major banks in the United States, basically saying that this is coming, this is on the horizon, and that is very bullish for crypto too, because it seems like one of those we can no longer ignore it kind of statements.
And it's not surprising as the head of a major bank that Jamie Dimon would be crypto averse. Certainly 2 years ago, we had a huge institutional phase in crypto. We had 2017 crash. Bitcoin, I believe, got down to $3,000 or $4,000 at its low. It looked effectively like a dead industry for a lot, especially in finance, as I was still deeply in FinTwit or finance Twitter. And people were not talking about crypto. People thought that it was dead and whatever was left was just dying a slow death. As we started to come out of it, what really spurred the gigantic run was institutional adoption. And what really got that going was Paul Tudor Jones, one of the most looked up to people in markets, famously bet on the 1987 crash with S&P futures, made him one of the largest where he went from a small office to one of the largest firms on Wall Street to one of the richest men in the world. People listened to his opinion on macro markets. When he moved into Bitcoin, it was big news. Bitcoin was around 10 grand. I think he moved in, it got to 12, and then it fell to 7. And everyone was like, oh shit, oh no, blah, blah, blah. And after that, it was basically a straight line to 45 grand, I think. And then,
just incredible run through Christmas of 2020. Like just that was 25K on December 25th. And then it just went up like $1,000 plus every single day.
And that was purely a factor of this institutional adoption. This was not the public moving into Bitcoin. This was banks, hedge funds, people in the traditional finance industry deciding that, yes, this is a thing. This is a thing now. And that's why it went on the run it went on. And this last year, we have experienced the classic bear trap. If you bring up a chart of market cycles, there's a few of them that go around. And it shows you, early investors, institutional phase, bear trap, run up, froth, peak euphoria, confirmation, but like there's this cycle that basically it shows you what happens on every pump, and we even see it in NFT projects. It's a much shorter cycle, but it's that chart plays out almost every time. And we, over the last year, this consolidation phase, this 50% or more fall from the peak, and this sideways move has been the classic bear trap. And what happens next, folks, is quite the show. So get ready, because I do think that as we are now seeing, they've built their positions. Okay, that was what the move from 10,000 to 60,000 was. A lot of people cashed out. You know, the banks cashed you out. That happens. That's why we've had this bear trap, this consolidation. Now the banks are going to come out and start acting bullish towards this new asset that they have been acquiring. And
yeah, never underestimate when they say something positively about it. It's not that they're going to buy it; it's that
they've built their positions. It's now time, and this isn't a quick process for them. They're building a new asset class. They're legitimizing a new asset class. This is a slow build. You're seeing it unfold. And again, it's why I think we're going to have a very large bullish move in crypto at some point.
Love to hear it. I've been staying away from WGMI, but I do like pulling it up sometimes just to get a quick pulse of like some of the projects that have gone on a great run. We talked about Pudgy Penguins yesterday, the acquisition, doing really great things for them. They were looking to break a 3 ETH floor. They did break a 4 ETH floor, and that project just continues to run. Definitely some people looking to take some profits here. Maybe, you know, they that long fall from grace, and then the kind of just sitting there for a while waiting for something to happen weighed a little bit thick on them. But I mean, this is great news for Pudgy Penguins as it continues to run, and they put some distance in behind all of that drama and look to their new leadership, and I guess it's pretty impossible to say that the market hasn't been very bullish on this change, right? So
yeah, you know, there's something happening that I thought would happen. We had this major run up and mean reversion from the geopolitical lows that we faced. NFTs rallied at the same time, maybe to a lot of people's surprise, because by the time we had, capitulated, there was no volume in the market, and you weren't really selling anything anyway, unless you wanted to take a major undercut on the floor. People just had their bags. They had gotten the ETH they wanted. Everything rallied together, almost surprised everybody. On this next leg, as we touched 3,500, there was a small pullback in NFTs. I think a lot of people paper-handed. I think a lot of people said, you know what? ETH is about to rally. You know that NFTs go down when ETH rallies. And I have been trying to caution against getting married to this correlation for a long time. I don't know if it's happening now. I don't know if it's going to be in 2 months or if it's going to be at the end of the year, but there's going to come a moment where ETH and NFTs rally at the same time very hard, and people who are quote unquote used to the way markets work or have worked over the last 8 months are going to miss the ride. And what they're going to do is, as we get to the next natural peak, they're going to FOMO in and push it even higher. And that's how you get big blow off tops. So people have been at, first it was, should I go into stables? Then it was, should I go into spot? And then it's, should I sell my NFTs and be liquid? And the whole time I'm saying, pack your bags. And I still think that's the case. I'm very bullish on NFTs here. I don't care what spot does going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Pudgy Penguins going for a ride. Somebody mentioned that earlier. I think that was Brett's Finance shouting out Pudgy Gang. And then, of course, NDOT mentioned it. I do have it queued up, and I'm sorry not to rub salt in the wound, but just after I sell my Mories, they run FML. Yeah, hey, it's hard to make these predictions, and that's one of the really difficult things about trading NFTs is you always have that in the back of your mind of like, oh, this is dead, it hasn't done anything, and then boom, you just get smacked in the face with this crazy random pump because Gary Vee decides that it's historic. That didn't happen with Mories, but just as a for instance, a lot of projects will never do anything again. Mories not the victim of that, and they went on a run. They're sitting at 0.72 right now. They were selling for a little bit higher, but of course, as that volume returns into projects, people always like to look to scale out of their position once they see the opportunity. It looks like it doesn't get too far ahead of itself, but like, you know, we're sitting at maybe 0.8 floor for a little bit, 0.9. And then the listings kind of caught up with it. But this is a project that has been around for a long time now, and it had its moment. Obviously, we see here getting up to an average price of 2.3 ETH earlier this year, and then this long wind down. But it has had its moment. It does have this longevity to it, and you know, Mories are a project that October. So we're talking 6-7 months now, you know, are starting to fit that environment of old school, but kind of, you know, we're gonna make it kind of thing. They've been around for long enough. They're still getting these like little pumps and these swells. But again, it's hard, especially if you're not sitting on a lot of liquidity, because you got to try and find it sometime. And so NDOT, I'm sorry that you ended up selling your Mories and they went on a tear. But
And look, it's all, and you know, it's only a very small pump here in Mories, and Mories are all over the place. You know, they've gone all the way up to 2.5 ETH during the last. People don't get long-term holds in this game, and long-term holds can be a year. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Mories had a great moment. It's also one of my 3 favorite projects from last year, art-wise. You know, Lemons, Kaijus, and Mories from last year really, really were my favorite. I think they make fabulous PFPs, and it's going to take time. But as 2021 comes into view as the historic year that it was, I say this a lot. I think projects that had a moment are going to become elite. And I just named 3 of them. And yeah, really love the Mories. Yeah, Mories are great.
Well, and I think that January pump, correct me if I'm wrong, where it got really high was back in the day when Coinbase would drop a profile picture as a partner project, and they would just go absolutely ballistic. They've kind of not had that reception anymore, because we've been saying when Coinbase for a long time. But was that right around the time, I believe? Because this is a project that's going on Coinbase, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Somebody else mentioned Oni Force maybe going on a run. Not yet, but you know, that is a good project to look for. There was a lot of mismanagement and mishandling of it. You know, some questionable use of the funds where, you know, instead of trying to give back or put back into the community and managing it, there's a lot of fractionalization within the team and whatnot. But again, you want to talk about a moment in 2021. If we go back, I mean, these things were trading for 7-8 ETH back when they first dropped. Ultra hyped back in August. Yeah, average price there was 8.9 ETH. And then it's just been months and months and months and months of nothing. My biggest thing that I would be looking for with Oni, you know, maybe it fits into this anime meta, and maybe as people are buying the Akumas and the Azukis and the Kawamis, Evereyes, all of that stuff, maybe some of it kind of flows back into these legacy projects. Volume not super great on Oni, and it hasn't been for a long time. But again, venture into their Discord, go, you know, flip over some rocks and see if there is a real solid community over there. See if, you know, the mods or the devs answer you and talk to you and engage with you, and see if they're still building stuff. Because if the answer is no, then you're relying on this to just be like a legacy art thing. And I don't mind Onis at all, but you got to be willing to take that risk that it does become that. And it could. I'm not saying that, but again, you know, you do a little bit of research, and if that community, and you go in that Discord and that community is strong, you know, you might be onto something. 0.6 isn't nothing, but when you look at where it's came from, like, yeah, it definitely is a huge fall from grace. Were you ever in Onis? Did you ever own any of them or mint them or anything like that? No. This was like right around the time that I was getting in.
I was pretty averse to minting things back then. I had been watching this new phenomena of people come into the NFT industry, and Oni was not one I ever got into. A lot of people like the art. I actually think the Akumas look like a combination between Azukis and Onis.
And gorillas.
Yeah, but I actually think they look really cool, those Akumas, at least the previews that I've seen. But yeah, Oni was part of the anime meta before there was an anime meta, and we'll see whether that they can get caught up in that wave.
Yeah, definitely one of those. If you are sitting on great liquidity and you want to kind of have a speculative long-term asset trade, I don't think Oni Force is a terrible spot to be looking. But again, if you do that research, you can make that decision for yourself one way or another. Probably pretty easy when you look at what's going on kind of behind the scenes. Huge volume yesterday in CoolCats on some rumors that were completely unsubstantiated about Yuga Labs acquiring the CoolCats. This tweet from cross.eth: over 63 CoolCats just sold, or $2.18 million off a fake rumor of a Yuga acquiring them. Always do your own research. This got really weird. The rumor hit hard and hit fast. The cats ran basically up from like 80th to just over 90th in like the blink of an eye. People were loading up on them. And then Klon came out and said, I haven't sold my character. Please do your own research before purchasing. There was some spaces going on. I think some stuff is getting heated. Were you watching all of this go down while it was happening?
Yeah, well, it was crazy. I think it started with the cats in the ship, right? We saw that leak from Yuga of
Yes.
their other side.
The other side video, yep.
The next day, there was a lot of like, oh, are they going to buy CoolCats? Are they going to buy the other projects that were in the ship? I kind of cautioned against it just because there had been no announcements from CoolCats. It didn't seem like CoolCats had worked with Yuga. It seemed like Yuga had just used the cat as one of the examples of what was going to happen in their universe. And then yesterday, I believe we had two reports from different sources that Yuga had acquired CoolCats. I mean, of course, this just sent everything I believe the entire floor of CoolCats was swept at the time. And the main leaker, or I shouldn't say leakers, the people who started these rumors went on a spaces with Andrew Wang to discuss them. And I was scrolling through spaces and I saw CoolCats Yuga and CoolCats acquisition ? And I was like, wow, this is, it was both. I was surprised, and then at the same time, I was like, all right. I mean, what, at this point, why not? But yeah, it was a very. I did not listen to the whole thing, but by all accounts, it was a tragic space. As very soon after they had started and caused a lot of drama with it, I believe it was Klon himself who came out and said, "I did not sell my IP to anybody." Which dashed the rumors quite quickly. Now, during the space, a young lady had come up and asked, is there any proof for what you're saying? Is there any reason that you think, and the guys were laughing and kind of dismissive of it and were saying, oh, we got a really good track record. Well, not perfect, but, pretty good track record. Like, playing it up like this wasn't causing, some massive financial pump in an asset, and, causing people to wonder whether they should FOMO, whether they should sell, what they should do. And they were very dismissive of this young lady and even rugged her off the stage as she continued to ask. Not once the rumors were dashed, and it seemed like this was a bunch of bullshit, the young lady was able to come back up on stage and she was bawling. She was not, she was crying. She was like, good. This is why I hate this space. It's so toxic. I mean, it was such I don't know what the hell happened yesterday, what inspired it, or why people think they should, Spaces is a relatively new phenomenon of live podcast. I don't know whose space it was, J. Roy. I know Andrew was on it. It was not Andrew's space. I don't know whose space it was. I was able to tune in briefly. It was definitely not Andrew Wang's space, but boy, it was just a bad look all around. And this is a very, very, since we are not securities, since we are not regulated, on some level, projects need to hold themselves to a higher standard and try to avoid things. I know this wasn't of any fault of CoolCats, but the people, unless they were completely nefarious here, you really better gut check yourself this morning and wonder about whether you should go on something like Spaces with somebody as whether it was Wang's space or not, for him to go up on stage there, he's going to attract a lot of people into that space because they see that little purple, circle around his hexagon that he's in a space. They're going to go in there and see what's going on. People need to be really careful. These type of rumors are dangerous. And, people coming up and asking legitimate questions, if they didn't have an answer, they really made this person feel bad. It was not a good look all around. But I would say it brought up some pretty interesting questions about,
Well, that's one thing that I wanted to get into, and you kind of we're talking through this on the pre-show. This is the fun time to do a hypothetical. What if, what would this mean for NFTs? I think we obviously know based on the pump what it would mean for CoolCats, but what would this mean for NFTs, the landscape, if the rumors hadn't turned out to be totally false and Yuga was acquiring CoolCats? Because, shortly after doing that shortly after a Punk's acquisition, and Meebits, of course, would be like, you would really, really get what their MO is in this space now. And that would just be like moving hard and fast and just growing at breakneck speed. Obviously not the case, but what do you think that would imply? What do you think that would mean for it? How do you think people would feel about it? How do you think CoolCats holders would feel about it? And go ahead, comment in the chat too if you want to weigh in on a question too, because I think it's a very interesting one, and we are going to see more acquisitions. There is no doubt about it. So it's a conversation we might as well just start having now.
Yeah, and I know CoolCats like to toe the party line, and again, I don't blame them. They are a cult, and I say that as a term of endearment. I don't mean cult in the nefarious sense. I mean they are a culture. Okay, cult is a word that is short for culture. Okay, that said, the management at CoolCats has been absolutely negligent in how they have handled everything going on over the last couple months. If this was a traditional company in the Web 2 world, as we call it, or a traditional corporate world, this entire team would have been fired by now. Forget the actual moves and execution. The communication from the quote-unquote CEO has been lacking, and it has been unfortunate. Other projects have come in and far surpassed them in mindshare. I mean, Doodles and CoolCats must be looking at Azuki and questioning everything that they've done over the last few months. I have always said CoolCats is a licensing play, all right? What is fabulous about CoolCats is their wonderful artist Klon and the great art about them. There's so much you could do with that. A game is a very difficult undertaking. Games are, this is something that CoolCats, I think they felt pressure to do because of what Yuga Labs was doing, which I guess makes this rumor all the more interesting, or the implications of what it could actually mean. I actually think it would probably be a good idea for CoolCats to sell to Yuga Labs. Now, I don't think they want to. I don't think Klon would want to. But if we're talking about management, you can't argue that Yuga Labs has the best management in our industry and is executing at the highest level. I mean, Yes, Azuki is coming in and showing that they know how to do that as well. But quite frankly, CoolCats need some help right now. There's a reason the floor is where it is. It's so high because they have such a fabulous diamond-handed community that doesn't want to sell their cats, but it's also so low because of how the team has been executing on the vision here. And I really think the vision the whole time has been licensing. I think the reason they even got to 15 ETH was because of that deal with Time and what the implications could be. And I think Cooltopia was a divergence from that because of what they saw coming out of Yuga Labs.
Yeah, my gut is telling me that we can look at this in a couple different angles. If Cooltopia and Cool Pets had worked as intended, even a couple minor delays here and there, now we're talking we're going on 2 months almost since that's been just kind of sidelined. But if that had launched, I gotta believe that CoolCats would have been the recipient of quite a nice run when we've seen all of these kind of tier 1 NFT projects, and of course that's just a slight step below the blue chip. Call them blue chip contenders, if you will. I gotta believe that if that game had been done and done properly, people were enjoying it, we would see the CoolCats being reaping the benefits. That being said, 8.8 ETH is nothing to shake a stick at, but they definitely haven't gotten off the mat the way that some of these other projects have, and they've been quickly outpaced by doodles and whatnot. I also think that the same thing could be completely said if Cooltopia was never even a thing. You know what I mean? Like if they had never decided to go down that route. And obviously that's super like what if or hindsight looking and all of that stuff. But sometimes we talk about whether or not these projects need these secondary collections or how they need to do it and whatnot. And maybe at the end of the day, CoolCats just wasn't ready to be in there in that realm. And it remains to be seen, but I completely agree with you that the way that Yuga Labs executes, if they were to come in and take control of this IP, presumably take control of the game, that we would have something working in pretty quick order, and people would be really, really hyped about it. So.
And holy shit, R2, you need to bring up a thread because I was trying to figure out why people were trolling star catchers in the comments, and I go to look. There was a thread posted at 9:01. Holy shit! I mean, I don't know, man. This project has just been boy. This is a bad look. I would definitely read this thread out loud on the air. Maurice has also responded to it. I will put his I'll get you his response as well. Let me see if I could find that. But there seems to have been some very suspicious trading going on post Star Catchers mint. Oh boy, you want to talk about a rug? This has been first rugged by the artist. Now I don't know what has been happening here. Wow, biggest disappointment of my career. That is bad.
I will read it out. I haven't seen this yet, but I guess this is by Meta Matey. I want to share how the Starcatchers team screwed their community during reveal. This is a 10-piece thread, so I guess buckle up, and we are reading this together for the first time. Maybe you guys have already read it in the comments. Looks like Zopal did. I was part of the Starcatchers Discord since the first days of the project launched, since the first days the project launched, and was super bullish. The team claimed to be transparent and planning to build for the long term, which I really liked. I guess I was naive. Before reveal, I noticed that some items were bought for way above floor price without any special number, which didn't make sense to me. So I decided to keep them saved and check back later. We will dive deeper into each one. The first one is number 1755, which was bought for 1.5 ETH when the floor was around 0.8. The wallet that bought never traded any other NFTs, and I think the only purpose was to snatch this one from the unsuspecting buyer. I will open that up in a new tab and flip back. 1755 sold immediately after reveal. Okay, so this was pre-reveal. Didn't didn't exactly say that. So 1755 was purchased for 1.5 ETH, so about twice the floor price pre-reveal. 1755 sold immediately after reveal for 30 ETH. Turns out this was the rarest item in the entire collection and the Starcatcher's mascot, as Maurice called it. There are three other there we go. That one. And that is the Starcatcher's mascot. The other three are 39.48, 67.60, and 22.37, which were bought for 1 ETH, 0.899 ETH, and let's just call it 1.4 ETH, all by the same wallet. They were sold after reveal for 10 ETH, 4 ETH, and 3 ETH, respectively. What a lucky trade, right? Nothing to do with luck. After tracking down the funds, it looks like the profit from all of these accounts was transferred to a Binance accounts that also received multiple deposits from the co-founder and made artist Botrick's wallet vault. There's the Etherscan transaction. So this guy is, putting his money where his mouth is and showing the proof. Wow. That's around 50 ETH in net profit stolen from the community and sent to Botrick. Right? After reveal, I went to the Discord asking how this was possible. Here's ETH Maurice reply. Now, either Maurice is dumb or he was in on it. I strongly suspect the latter. I don't know why. So he kind of calls them out in the Discord. I don't know why they bought it, but the floor did get up to 1.5 for a brief moment. So maybe it was then. The metadata was randomized, so we literally had no idea what numbers the rares were. Everyone was calling us out when someone spent 1.75 ETH on, I think, number 614 or 615 or something like that. And I was panicking because I thought someone found our metadata, but it wasn't like an ultra rare or anything like that. People are weird. LOL. I mean, I minted Starcatchers and I was watching it pretty closely. I do not recall that floor ever being very briefly 1.5 pre-reveal. I don't know if you agree, but
I mean, and that's what he said 8 eons ago. Let me see if I could find you his tweet response now.
Oh, this was on February 27th. Okay, yep.
Right. I'll see if I could find you his tweet response now, but this is just...
So I'll continue the last of the thread. Couple more tweets here. A few days later, I heard that Botrick is starting a new project called Boki. I think he's starting to feel confident that his behavior can go unnoticed and he wants to do it all again. If anyone has access to Boki's closed Discord, please share this thread there. Huge shout out to Bax1337 and Convex Labs for helping me out with all this. I wouldn't have been able to prove any of this by myself. A couple of thank yous there. Boki NFT is the right account for the new Botrick project. Sorry for the mistake. Yeah. Meta Matey needs the edit feature from Elon. But yeah, of course, that is pretty crazy. This is gaining a lot of traction, and I guess Starcatchers is not doing so hot because of that.
What is so amazing, I think, about all of this is we've just gone through like a 3-month cycle of support the artist, and we can't screw the artist, and like all the
artist just screws everybody.
Some Machiavellian rugging ass. I mean, do you see how much shit this guy was doing? First, he's planning this other project behind the scenes without telling the team. Then he's literally trading off the metadata before anybody. This is so classic. This guy is one of the most classic villains of all time. Well, fuck you, Butrix, and man, Starcatchers, rest in peace. Isn't I don't know what is even happening right. There's no coming back for this. That is fucking...
It's too bad, man, because we were just talking about this like yesterday, 2 days ago, like just a private conversation between the two of us and being like talking about Starcatchers and, does it have the legs? Can it get there? Is it going to make it? We want to believe that the team has the chops to do it. There was the artist drama, which really sucked, but is incredibly talented and maybe can take the reins. And then we really just settled on the fact, but like, damn, they look good.
Yeah.
But, when stuff like this surrounds it, shit.
It's not, no, NDOT. It is definitely not Starcatcher's fault. It's not about it being their fault. But Butrix is he's the talent that created this, right? Like this is his thing. The trepidation when we were debating this the other day, and I said, while I think there's a chance they could turn it around, I'm not buying anymore. Like I don't have the feeling that I should buy more, even though they are so low. And it's just because when the person whose concept it is no longer there, it's like, how can the concept be taken forward? Not that I don't
And not
think
only that, but clearly has a lot of shit surrounding him, you know.
And not that I think Ariel can't take it forward fabulously and do something with it, but it's much more of a question mark. As now I have gotten to know this art, understood it was made by this person, and now I have to trust somebody else to take over the reins. Not that they can't do it. That's just a new layer of risk that I have to account for in my assessment of whether to hold something like this. And now today, I mean, PR is something. How you are viewed is something. These, people are just going to give up here. Sure, anything's possible in NFTs, but it makes it a lot harder to negotiate for partnerships when this is the type of PR that is out there about your project. I mean, I wish them the best, but this is a very bad situation for Starcatchers.
Yeah, and saying, but he did this without anyone else on the team knowing, right?
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
MetaMady is implying that, and obviously we can't just base on implications and the fact that Mories was in on it or anything like that. I will say this: when something super suspicious happens, like twice the floor price purchase pre-reveal that ends up being the Starcatchers logo that ends up getting immediately flipped for 30 ETH. Maybe just send somebody on it and keep an eye on it, because if maybe they had done this research, which I don't want to say was easy, but I'm sure they had access to people that could have kept an eye on it or something. I gotta think that maybe they could have outed it first and got ahead of the curve, and we would be having a completely different conversation.
Yeah.
Because the writing was on the wall that something weird happened there, like no doubt about it. And the reason I know that is because somebody randomly picked up on this. If it wasn't suspicious, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because it would have just been something that happened. I know that sounds really obvious, but clearly it was something that people were talking about at the time. It was brought up in February, and it probably could have been looked into. Regardless, I'm just going to say this: whether or not the other team or the Starcatchers team is involved in it or not, it's really hard to have that shit surrounding your project. They're gonna unfortunately wear it for a long time, and maybe they can take the reins of it, get out on it, and rebound from this. But I mean, who knows? I'm with free market. Like, I'm definitely not buying any more of these right now. There's no part of me that like saw this and been like, I gotta go floor right now either. I mean, right. I'm in a spot where like, it is what it is.
And neck fuss, I think we know that they know it happened after the fact. I think the idea is whether they knew either Butrix was planning this, or whether they were in on it, or whether they found out about it before the public and tried to hide it. That would be what we are worried about. And look, we don't that is why there is, NDOT was asking why, if the team wasn't involved. People just don't know now. You're never going to, it's going to be he said, she said now. That's just, these are not, this is the type of baggage that makes it hard for a project to go out there and make the, especially if you're a licensing play, to make the sort of partnerships that you need to grow your brand. So, yeah.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to read Maurice's statement too, just because it's the last thing he tweeted. And yeah, again, hindsight's 2020, but he seems to kind of be picking up what I was putting down too. Not that he's necessarily listening, but this has been one of the most upsetting things I've ever read in my life. I'm disappointed in myself for not doing further digging into who we bought this from beforehand. I'm assuming that's just a little grammatical error. Thank you. Thank you to the person who wrote the thread for uncovering this. You have my word. I'm looking into this. Yeah, I mean, again, if the writing was on the wall there, it was clearly brought up in the Discord as late as February, but probably earlier. I mean, it is something that people notice when you see the floor price on a project, being like 0.8 ETH, and then all of a sudden a 2 ETH sale dings off. pre-reveal. I mean, the red flags should go up. Now, of course, there's the OpenSea scam hack listing that used to be a lot more prevalent, but people still do pull it off every once in a while now. There's always the opportunity that someone is buying it from themselves to like make their, their bags look better and yada, yada, yada. But again, some of those should have been earmarked and taken at least a little bit seriously, because it is strange. And you can set, watches on things. You can even just go on and on a OpenSea account and favorite it and then check back in to see what's happened with it. Right.
Yep.
So, I think the big thing is that, there's 4 items here that were all clearly substantially more valuable than floors. One being the actual mascot, which was sold for, at the time, $100,000. And yeah, now we're here having this conversation. So if the Starcatchers team was not complicit in any of this, I really do hope that they can rally around this, because Botrack is leaving them with a lot of shit to clean up. So okay, on that note, guys, we do have some stuff that we're going to get to. Obviously, the hunter roll of Star Wolves is about to get going live at noon Eastern. We've got about 2,000 Star Wolves minted. A lot of people have been saying, oh, it's going slow. What's going on? Hey, we put out the infographic, before the mint, explaining the details that this was going to be a slower process. Some people have been in that Discord for 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, being part of the community and whatnot. And we didn't ever want to create a situation where people, only had an hour or two to mint this allow list that they've been working really hard on. And it's, people, we get a little impatient. NFTs move fucking fast, man. So, yeah, I mean, we've had a great run rate on the people whose wallets have been on there, and a lot of people max minting. So very exciting stuff in regards to that. Excited to see the final hour of the Elders go down, and then we're going to be moving into the Hunter roll after that, which has a lot of wallets on that, and that's exciting. So I appreciate that. Free Market, you want to touch on anything else before we wrap this up?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I will see you at NFT NYC next month. Looking forward to it. So much planned for that week, June 21st, 23rd. 3 months. 2 months? 2 months.
Yeah, 2.5 months. Let's call it. We'll do the compromise in the middle. So yeah, looking forward to that all going down.
Lemon,
guys. I love you so much, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you tuned in a little bit late, we talked about, crypto looking very bullish right now. It's hit some support and it's kind of holding around that level, some really, really healthy consolidation, and looking for the next leg up. All it could take is a really, really good piece of news, or maybe a big company putting some crypto on their balance sheet, and it could be enough to just send it completely upwards. We talked a little bit about Canada and one of the prime minister candidates being very crypto friendly, which is exciting for me personally, and I'm going to be following that very closely. We watched Vitalik dance for a little bit. That was amazing. Thank you, Free Market, for bringing that up. Elon and what he can do with Twitter, how it relates to crypto. Pudgy Penguins going on a run. Crypto Mories having a great run yesterday. A lot of CoolCats drama happened. And then, of course, the wrap up with Starcatchers and what's going on there. So consider talking about Moonbirds on this upcoming week, by the way. You know what? I do have a great thread about Moonbirds that I will make sure that I bookmark again for tomorrow. We talked a little bit about it on the show yesterday and why you should be very, very excited about it. But that is a big project, and it's one of the few that I think a 2.5 ETH Dutch auction is probably very palatable for. So no, keep Moonbirds a secret, my friend. This is there is no secrets behind Moonbirds at this point. Anyways, on that note, we are going to wrap it up. I love you all, and we will do it again tomorrow. Free Market, do the thing.
Good luck at the tables, DJ.